Let's spin, see what we're going to get. Yep, that's going to be E. E. We have Eternatus, that is our restricted for our next episode. We have Trick Room options with Executor. Compare either of those with a Escavalier for a decent Trick Room mode. You know, actually, there are less Pokemon here than I initially thought.
Welcome to the Pokemon Wheel of Fortune. The rules of play. Number 1, this game uses whatever the current VGC format is. Number 2, the letters of the alphabet are placed onto our Wheel of Fortune at random. The wheel is spun and I must make a team of Pokemon whose names start with that letter. I will then take that team onto the in-game battle spot ladder and play until I win one battle. Number 3, if necessary, I can swap the team members out for other eligible Pokemon throughout the course of those battles. Number 4, letters that contain fewer than 6 fully evolved Pokemon have been grouped together. If the current format includes restricted Pokemon, but there are none whose name begins with a corresponding letter, then I get to choose another one myself. Number 5, lastly, once a letter has been selected, it will be removed from the wheel for future episodes. The wheel will be spun at the end of each episode for the following episode.
Welcome to the next episode of the Pokemon Wheel of Fortune. Season 12 is finally here. Some people quite happy about that, others maybe not quite as happy. But the Wheel of Fortune will be continuing in Series 11, simply because the Series 12 rules, they're not really conducive to this kind of series. It would be incredibly masochistic of me to try to continue this series in that format. So I'm not going to be doing that. It will be Series 11 only going forwards. I'll do a brief reminder of that at the beginning of all episodes going forward. In the last episode, it was a tough one for sure. We barely squeaked our way over the line, but we rolled. We got E for this episode, and here's the team. Of course, we've got Eternatus as our only possible restricted Pokemon. It's Life Orb, so if you're familiar with VGC in the past couple of years, you'll know what this is all about. So now let's talk about the two electric types on the team together, the Emolga and the Electrifying. Both of them have the Motor Drive ability, which, if you don't know, if the Pokemon is hit with an electric type move, it takes no damage and its speed is raised by 1. So we kind of need to look at these two Pokemon together. Emolga has Nuzzle, Helping Hand, Encore, so a purely supportive set, and of course Protect as well. But then if we look at the Electivire, we've gone for a mixed set with Discharge, Electro Web, Wild Charge and Ice Punch, and it has Choice Scarf as well. So the idea here was to outspeed my opponent one way or another, get an Electro Web off, lower their speed, or go for a Discharge. We've got those Paralysis chances, a 30% chance on each opponent. Discharge could also give out Emolga the speed boost, so then allow Emolga to get the Nuzzle off, and basically just kind of disrupt my opponent, and then allow the Eternatus and whatever else in the back to come in and then clean up from that point onwards. I was a little bit worried about Landorus with this team, which is why we've gone mixed Electivire and we've got that Ice Punch on there, because if I see a Landorus, I'm going to be leading Emolga and Electivire, and it'll be a Helping Hand Ice Punch turn 1. Moving on, we have a Trick Room mode. If we look at the Executor and the Escavalier together, so yeah, Trick Room mode, we are immune to Spore with both of these Pokemon. Of course, we've got the Grass type and Executor. I put Sleep Powder on the set over something like a Psychic type stab move, simply because I didn't feel like we needed the Psychic coverage, and getting myself into a position where I can spam Sleep Powder if I need to, as much as I don't like doing that. If my opponent allows me to do it and it's the best play, then why not? And yeah, Escavalier with the Overcoat, so can't be Spored, immune to Rage Powder, and has some really nice coverage, so we've got a nice Trick Room mode. And the Exploud was the final Pokemon that I put on this team. I really wasn't sure what would go in this 6th slot, but I was looking at the team and I was quite worried about Kyogre, especially Scarf Kyogre with Tailwind support. I know, you never see that, right? But just in case we do. And yeah, this was the best option in dealing with it. I wanted something with an Assault Vest. Exploud has really great coverage. It's not very strong, but I've given it basically the strongest moves possible for each typing that it has access to. So we've got the Stabbing Boom Burst, Overheat, Blizzard, and Solar Beam. So we've got really nice coverage there, and it kind of offsets the lower power of Exploud. And Exploud's at a funny kind of speed tier that it's slow enough we can use it effectively in Trick Room, or semi-effectively in Trick Room, but also fast enough that if we start nuzzling the opponent's Pokemon and paralysing them, then there's a good chance Exploud will be outspeeding them. So that's the team. Quite an interesting one for sure. Really, I mean, 5 of these 6 Pokemon are not things you see too often. So let's see if we can get the win. We have our opponent and a Zacian team, which again, I feel like I've said a lot, especially lately. Seems to have just been all Kyogres and Zacians. So yeah, pretty interesting looking team. No Trick Room setup, but a bunch of slow Pokemon on this team. So, the thing that sticks out to me here is the Colossal. Because you see the Colossal, you've got to expect Aqua Jet, right? And I don't know if Omastar actually gets Aqua Jet. I'm going to assume that it does. The Excelgor could be a problem, because those can run Final Gambit, which could be an issue. There's a lot of bulk on my opponent's team. So I think we will go for our Emolga Electivire lead. With Eternatus and Exploud in the back. I think so. I think Exploud's coverage. I think we're looking at Dynamaxing Exploud. Because of course we can't Dynamax our Eternatus. And there's not too many members of the team that are really effective Dynamaxers. You've got Escavalier and Exploud pretty much. So no idea what my opponent's going to lead. Maybe the Omastar Colossal if it does get Aqua Jet. No, it's Excelgor and Colossal. Huh. I guess Excelgor maybe has access to Surf. So we are going to go for the Discharge Nuzzle play. I know how I want this to play out, but I don't know how to expect this to play out, because I don't know, obviously we don't know the opponent's sets. They've got an Excelgor, which is a very fast Pokemon. They could have something like a Choice Scarf on it as well, in which case we won't outspeed. So yeah, not really sure what to expect here. But I'm hoping we get our boost, we get our Paralysis. Water Shuriken, of course, that's the move it gets. Okay, so the good news is we've got Focus Sash on Emolga. So Volclip comes out into, yeah, assume the Emolga. So at this charge, activate now Emolga's Motor Drive, which doesn't matter at this point, of course. If we can get Paralysis on Excelgor, which we do, that's quite nice. We get double Paralysis with the Discharge. Yeah, so Discharge has a 30% chance of paralysing each target it hits. So it's essentially the same as a Rock Slide Flinch. Okay, so from here, we're still in a bit of an awkward spot because I don't really want to be discharging my own Eternatus, especially after we've just seen what's capable of happening with it. I'm not happy about this Excelgor sticking around either. But Colossal is the threat. guess we just have to go for it because we need to get rid of it. We go for the Dynamax Cannon. We are going to swap X-Cloud in. We'll get Electivire out there. Bring it back in late game to help deal with the Zacian. I'm hoping this knocks out. It does, nice. So of course Dynamax Cannon acting the same way that the Behemoth Blade and Behemoth Bash do, where they still do the same set amount of percentage damage to Dynamax Pokemon as they would to non-Dynamax Pokemon. So good for us to get rid of the Colossal there. We've got very fortunate with the full Paralysis on Emolga there as well. And I imagine we're going to see Zacian hit the field. No, Registeel. So we're going to try and capitalise now and just start getting these KOs. So Dynamax, go for our Max Flare into Registeel. And you got to imagine it is the Zacian in the back. And here we go, big boombox. So Dynamax X-Cloud. How often do you see that? That's honestly the most fun thing about this series for me, is getting to see all these Pokemon, not just featuring them, but Dynamaxing them as well. Because the Dynamax, the fact you can Dynamax also offsets the fact that some of these Pokemon don't necessarily have the bulk or the power to really thrive in a competitive format. But then, as I say, the Dynamax offsets that, so we get to see them in action. So Max Flare coming out from X-Cloud. Registeel goes for Amnesia, but I don't think that's going to be enough at this point for my opponent. But it's not over yet. It is not over yet. No Zacian for my opponent. So we're going to go for the Dynamax Cannon, Max Flare again, and on the following turn we can go for our Max Solar Beam, our Max Overgrowth into the Mudsdale. So Mudsdale takes the hit. It should knock out. I mean, they've gone for an Amnesia. Actually doesn't, it just barely sticks around. Rest. I had a feeling we were going to see some kind of recovery from this Registeel. That does make things a bit more difficult. Do I want to Overgrowth though? Because then I'm healing the Registeel as well, which is a problem. No more Volca, although our own Life Orb's going to finish the job. I could Hailstorm as well, get that residual damage. then I'm losing the damage from Max Flare. Yeah, this probably wasn't the best play. Reggie's still staying asleep, so I probably should have swapped these 2 attacks over. Gone for the Max Flare into Reggie Steel. Although the damage is probably comparable, considering it's Eternatus with Life Orb as well. So Mudsdale's gone. As I say, we didn't go for the Max Overgrowth because I didn't want to be giving this Reggie Steel passive healing. And we should see this through, but you never know because we need to hit some overheats. We need to hit an overheat. So we're just going to wild charge, overheat. So very surprising my opponent did not bring the Zacian. Taking their time, planning their next move. But if we hit the overheat, I think we will win. If not this turn, then the subsequent turn. Yeah, I think the overheat is gonna get the job done if we hit on this turn. Which we do. And there we go, we got the win. We got the win. That was surprisingly quick. Not going to complain. Let's do another one though. Well played to my opponent, and we'll see if we can get a second win. So we have our next opponent, and it's a Trick Room team with Ice Calyrex. Pretty interesting one as well. They've got the Regidrago and Tyranitar, which you don't see too often. Straight away, Escavalier looks pretty good here. I don't see any fire moves on their team outside of a surprise one from Tyranitar. But apart from that, I think we're okay. Still, we're going to be dealing with the sheer power of the Calyrex. It's going to be a tough one because I think they're going to lead Rillaboom, Porygon with the fake out Trick Room play. In the back, what do I want? I think it's probably got to be Exeggutor. Yeah, in hindsight, I actually wish I'd led maybe Exeggutor alongside Eternatus. Go for any sleep powders. That would be quite useful. That said, Eternatus and Emolga is pretty decent combination. Gives us the option of going for that helping hand, Dynamax Cannon. So it's just Amoonguss Porygon. So here we do have to be careful that my opponent protects the Amoonguss. I don't think they do. I don't think they have a good reason to. You know, I do want to make that play. I also want to get Escavalier in though, that's the problem. We're going to make a double switch. Thinking about the end game now. Turn 1, I did want to go for Helping Hand Dynamax into Porygon 2. I don't think that would be enough to knock it out. But just too much could go wrong here. If they don't go for the Rage Powder, if they do go for the Rage Powder, which they do, and they have something like a Focus Sash, or they don't have a Focus Sash and then you get the Calyrex in for free. These are all things I don't really want to be giving my opponent. So we also have the option to reverse Trick Room, which my opponent may see coming. I could Dynamax now, I think I'm going to. I am tempted to go for the Trick Room. But we're not going to. We're going to go for the Sleep Powder, so my opponent might read the Trick Room reversal. Actually just swap out into the Calyrex. So we'll be dealing a lot of damage. This is going to be a super effective hit into that slot. Of course, Calyrex has some ridiculous bulk. So it might survive the hit. We've got a really nice duo on the field, both immune to Spore. Of course, Escavalier has the Overcoat ability. Immune to Spore, immune to Rage Powder as well. Which is also why I didn't really necessarily want to reverse the Trick Room on this turn, because there was no need to. We can take full advantage of it for now. So my opponent goes to the Rage Powder, maybe unaware that Escavalier will ignore it. And we do just get rid of the Calyrex. So I think a little oversight from my opponent there, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes in these Dynamax formats. If you're not careful, one wrong move, especially with restricted Pokemon, and well, that's what happens. So not over yet, of course, by any means. My opponent's team is just generally quite annoying. So we're going to make the same play. The cheese is there's no reason not to spam Sleep Powder now. So Regidrago survives that. I don't know Regidrago's stats off the top of my head, but I feel like that should do more damage. Pollen Puff for my opponent. Yeah, that's a good move. That does over 50% to Exeggutor. And we do hit the Sleep Powder. That was a lot of damage considering my opponent's at -2 with that Amoonguss. Why was that doing so much? So how many turns left to Trick Room? 2 left. I think at this point Max Quake is the better play. I think we swap in. Yeah, we swap in Emolga. My opponent just forfeits, which is fair enough. We caught the Calyrex switch in. So there we go, we got both of our wins. This was, after how difficult the last episode was, we managed to get 2 quick wins this time around, which, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Well played to both of my opponents. Got quite fortunate in that first game with the discharge paralysis. But that's what I put it on the team for, you know. You have these chances of these things happening, and if you play towards those chances, they will happen, and it did happen, unfortunately, for my opponent. So, E is now behind us. Let's spin and see what we're going to have for the next episode. So it turns out that Regidrago had Fire Fang. I didn't even know it got access to a Fire-type move. But yeah, as I said, the battles went quite straightforward. We were able to get two quick wins, so quite pleased with that. We've had some really difficult letters recently, and I think that's going to continue going forward. Maybe one or two of these are going to be simpler ones. I think the T, for example, we've got access to the Tapus and a few other strong Pokemon there. But think of Pokemon that begins with the letter V. O and Q is going to be awful. U, X, and Z is going to be a tough one as well. So, going to be some interesting episodes coming up for sure. Let's spin, see what we get for the next one. It's going to be S. Scolipede, that's a Pokemon. I think that's in the game, isn't it? Superior, that's not in the game, so that won't go in the team. So, S. Of course, Salamence. That sticks out to me straight away. There's our Scolipede. Quite a few Pokemon to choose from. We've got double Intimidate. We've got triple Intimidate. No, we don't. We have double Intimidate. We've got Salamence and Scrafty. And having a quick look, there's not another Intimidate Pokemon we can go with. So we've got Solgaleo as a restricted. There are actually a lot of Pokemon to choose from. So I guess S may be one of the easier ones for us here. We have access to Prankster and Sableye. As I mentioned, we've got the Intimidate as well. We have a kind of pseudo sand team. We run Sandaconda with things like Sand Slash with Sand Rush. So yeah, this is going to be another interesting one, I think. I'm quite happy with what we've got here. Is triple Intimidate, because Shinx does get Intimidate. I don't think we'll be using Shinx though. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. You take care.